Hi, this is Jen Scott from the Noble Research Institute coming to you today to show you how to conduct the Chemistry's Rainbow experiment that you can find in our Science Exploration Trunk program. So what we have here today, I have already laid out some of my materials, so I'm going to take you through the steps of the lab so that you have a better idea of how to do it with your students. So the first thing you have in your trunk, you will have a kit that includes 7 plastic unlabeled cups and 2 plastic cups, one labeled citric acid, one labeled sodium carbonate. The first step is to tell your students to fill your citric acid cup and the sodium carbonate cup with 25 milliliters of water. Now you can do this from a drinking water bottle or a plastic water bottle, beakers, whatever you happen to have on hand. So after they have filled the citric acid cup with 25 milliliters of water, you're going to instruct the students to take 2 small scoops of citric acid powder and place it in the cup labeled citric acid. Then you can have them just gently swirl it around to get the crystals to dissolve in the liquid. Right? Then we're going to come to the other side and have them repeat the procedure with sodium carbonate. So again, 2 scoops of sodium carbonate powder into the sodium carbonate cup and swirl to get that to dissolve. The next step is you're going to take these 7 clear plastic cups and again, fill each with 25 milliliters of water. Once they have done that step, you are going to then instruct the students to put 10 drops of universal indicator into each of the 7 plastic cups, just like so. Now, some of your students may not understand the concept of drops, so just at an angle or straight up and down, either way, but a steady, slow pressure until they have enough drops, having counted out. So once the 10 drops are added to the cup, instruct them to gently swirl the liquid to get the universal indicator mixed throughout the cup. Okay, so now we have our pH card that shows us the different color ranges that that the universal indicator is going to produce. So what the students are going to do is recreate the rainbow, hence Chemistry's Rainbow. So we always tell the students to start with the citric acid. So they have a pipette labeled citric acid. Also reinforce the importance of not contaminating their pipettes or their spoons. So only use citric acid for citric acid. So we are going to come to the student's left side, and we are going to add drops to this cup until it turns a bright red color, just like our card. Now you can have the students complete the lab sheet, in which case they need to count the number of drops before it gets to red. So what we do is have the students put 3 or 4 drops, swirl the cup, and until it reaches the color that we would like. So in this case, we've already reached red. So then what I'll do is have the students come to the opposite end and use the sodium carbonate cup to try to get the last cup to turn to the purple. So again, I'm going to add a few drops and swirl. And we get purple. So then you're just going to have your students complete the rest of the sequence until you get the rainbow recreated. You may find that while you're doing this activity, the students add either citric acid or sodium carbonate, and they create the wrong color. So an easy way to fix it is if it's too acidic, you add the sodium carbonate, the base, to adjust the pH to become higher. If it is too basic, you can then add citric acid to bring the pH back down to the appropriate level. So once your students have created the rainbow, what we will often tell the students is that we cannot dispose of the liquid until all of the liquids go back to neutral. And so you can have them do this in whatever way they think will work best. So some will automatically go to, well, if I have an acid and I need to bring my base back to neutral, then I need to add my acid to my base. Okay, so they can try it that way. And they will continue doing this process until they get their base back to neutral. Now, the other thing that they can do is they say, oh, well, I have an acid and I have a base. What happens if I pour them together? Oh, okay, well, clearly I did take my base to an acid, but I went too far. So what if I now take my base and add it to my acid? Well, we're getting closer, but still not quite there. So I might just take a drop or two of my sodium carbonate and see if that will bring me to neutral. Which it does. So at this point then, once all the cups are returned to neutral, you can put them down the drain. Basically, all you have to do is empty all the cups and rinse them to set up for the next lab group. If you have any questions or concerns while you're conducting this activity, please feel free to give us a call or email, and we will be happy to answer any questions that you might have. If you have feedback for us, please, again, feel free to email that to us or write it on the enclosed supply sheet that you will send back with the trunk. Teachers, when you are getting ready to return the Science Exploration Trunk Chemistry Rainbow experiment, please make sure to read the return instructions carefully. You are not allowed to return the universal indicator with the lab. If you do and it leaks, you will be charged for shipping and hazardous material. So, again, please do not include any of the universal indicator when you return the trunk. You may keep it to use again in a future lab activity, or you can pour it down the drain and just rinse with copious amounts of water. The other thing, when you go to ship back the trunk, please cover the white and black triangle on the side of the shipping container with a white label enclosed with your return instructions. Again, if you do not do this and something happens to the trunk, you can be charged with shipping a hazardous material. So we are asking you to do this for your protection.